All right, greatest common factor. Boom. So, first thing you notice is the greatest common factor sounds a lot like the last unit, which was least common multiple. So, we got to start with the idea of like factors and multiples. What's the difference again? Which one's which again? If we think about the poor old number 6, multiples, there are millions of multiples. There are many multiples because multiples, in fact, would go on forever. Those would be the multiples of 6. Versus there's only a few factors of 6. The factors would be 1, 2, 3, and 6. So there's only a few factors. You're welcome to use that if you want. But knowing the difference between factors and multiples is key to knowing the difference between when and how you use the LCM, least common multiple, and then today's topic, the greatest common factor. Confusing those two is often the first mistake that people make. So the second thing is, what is the GCF for? Why do we need this GCF? It is used a lot in fractions, which of course we will play around with here today. Typically in simplifying, we've been practicing that quite a bit. It can also have its own problem-solving kind of zone, a thing that it is used for specifically. It's a thing that's very difficult in 5th grade. It is probably the hardest thing for 5th graders to do because the GCF is used for sharing. I know, sharing. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? I've got faith in you guys. We can do this together. Share. All right, so what's the game? My kids, they invite some people over to a party. And you know how like you make like a party bag for your guests? And so James has got a ton of apples. James has got 20 different apples. I'm just gonna write James 20 apples so we remember. All right, and then May's got her own contribution to the party bag. May has 12 candy bars. So we got to be able to divvy these bad boys up. We got to divide them up. And when you divide them up, you kind of got to divide them up equally, right? You can't send one kid home and be like, I got 12 apples and 1 candy bar. And another kid being like, I got 10 candy bars, no apples. He'll have no teeth the next day. So the trick to GCF is helping us use this greatest common factor, greatest being big, common meaning the thing that they share, and factor. So they're going to use that greatest common factor to say, how many groups can I make that have an even amount of apples and also have an even amount? Might not be the same amount of apples and candy bars. That's not what we're saying. We're saying we have to divide the apples up evenly. We have to divide the candy bars up evenly. This looks a lot like candy bags, which is not what I'm looking for. Into these bags. So the question is, how many bags can we make? Cool. Okay, as I turn to the guided notes, let's talk a little bit about this party bag quandary that I find myself in. Similar to LCM, the most straightforward place to start is by thinking of what are my two numbers. I've got 20 and I've got 12. And what are, last time we were listing multiples, for the LCM you list multiples. For the GCF, for the greatest common factor, I need to know what are the factors of these numbers. It's a good thing we've spent so much time practicing how to find the factors of things. I am not going to review that here. I'm just going to go on the assumption that if you need to list the factors of a number, you can do that, and we will continue to practice that therein. So, the greatest, meaning the biggest, common shared factor. We got all the factors. What factors do they have in common? I can usually make quite a few. They always have 1. So you've always got 1 as a factor of every number, so there's always a GCF. It is always 1. These are both even numbers, so they also have 2 in common. And then they have 4 in common here as well. So you have a few common factors. At least 1, it's often to have a few. That's why it's important that we play off of the greatest common factor, which in this instance is 4. So the way that I use that to answer my question is to say, all right, so my kids could essentially make 4 party bags. Oh, I don't want that. Ooh, party bag. Look at that. It's like a party, and it's a bag. Oh, wait, no. I mean, it's a bag you get at a party. Look at those party bags. So If there's 4 party bags and I got 20 apples, James is dropping 5 apples in each one. 5, 10, 15, 20. That one kind of looks like sap. Yeah, because I don't want a bunch of apples laying around my house, like lame. So I want to get rid of all 20 apples. I'm going to use all of them that I can, give them out, share them with kids. But I have to do it evenly. If I did 10 bags and put 2 apples in each, I'd have some leftover candy bars, right? So the gist of the question is to say, I have to use all the apples, all the candy bars. I have to make bags that are even. I want to use as many bags as possible. I could have just made 1 bag, just had one really dope kid come over. Here's your 1 bag, dude. It's got 20 apples and 12 candy bars. I hope you enjoyed the party. Get out of here. But no, the greatest common factor is about saying, I want the biggest possible number of bags. 4 is the best I could do in this instance. It's a good thing my kids only have 4 friends. So May's got the candy bars. She's going to drop 3 candy bars in this bag. 3 candy bars in this bag. That would make 6. 3 more would make 9. There is all 12 candy bars gotten rid of. All 20 apples gotten rid of. And all the bags are equal. 5 apples, 3 candy bars. Beautiful. Sounds like a party. Okie dokie. Let's take a look at 2 examples. No story this time, just focusing on finding that GCF of 4 and 6. So again, this is where we get into like, oh, I know, it's going to be 12, it's not 24, super cool. Except those would be multiples, right? Those would be the least common multiple. Factors are always going to be smaller than the numbers, or at the very biggest equal to. But if I'm looking for GCFs, they're going to be small. So I'm going to focus on my 4, and I'm going to list, not the multiples, I'm going to list the factors. If I were to draw my rainbow, it would look like that. I'm going to do 6. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and 6. There's my rainbows. What have we got in common? Well, we got 1, good old 1. But the largest is, in fact, 2. You guys can't highlight to circle them, but I'm going to circle all the common factors just to make it clear. All right, let's move on to a little bit more of a challenge here. 16 and 24. Well, I know I got 1 and 16. It's even, so I know I got 2 and 8. And I can also think of a math fact, which is 4 times 4. It's a square number, so it's going to have to kind of buddy up with itself. I'm going to contrast that with 24. If I remember correctly, 24 is quite a few. So I'm going to do 1 and 24. I'm going to do 2 because that's also even. 2's got a buddy over here in 12. All right, cool. I know that 4 and 6 are a pair. They're close to each other in size, so I know that they're going to be the center. And then I also have one more math fact, so lots of math facts used here. So those strategies that we've talked about for finding pairs, those 1, 2, 3, is going to be really beneficial for you to do. Greatest common factors is, how do I list factors again? 1 is in common, 2 is in common, but I also got good old 4 here is in common. And 8, I almost skipped it. So what is the greatest of those common factors? 8. So again, the independent work, you're going to record this, write your answers down on this piece of paper. You do have to do the left-hand side. It will also show up in this video. But you're going to solve your work and write something on this bottom left-hand corner. The bottom right side is optional. I will answer those at the very end of the entire video. I'll just share them with you. Okay, so number 1 is list all the factors of 30. Number 2, find the greatest common factor of 15 and 20. And number 3, find the greatest common factor of 32 and 48. The challenge on this one is actually quite difficult, and so I take that back. If you want to stick around to the very end of the video, I'll show you another technique. I call it the Obermark method because I've never seen anyone else use it. for finding greatest common factors that is really helpful when you have those really large numbers. That's not something we're going to need to dive into a ton this year, but if you're curious about another way of finding GCFs, stick around for the end of the video. All right, so here are the answers to the independent work and the additional practice if you're interested. I said I was going to show the additional method, but I need a little more space, so I'm actually going to go to the next slide, but I'm talking about 72 and 96. So what I do is basically I call it upside down division sometimes. If it has a name, I genuinely don't know what it is. Essentially what I'm doing is kind of thinking about it as like the way I would simplify fractions, but I'm keeping track of what I'm simplifying by every time. So I think of any number that goes into these two things, and there's a lot of flexibility here. So at this point, I'm just like, I don't know. I see that they're both even, so I'm gonna divide by 2. And I jot that over there. And then I got to answer my own question. What is 72 divided by 2? Well, that's 36. 96 divided by 2, that's 48. And I get a new division thing. From here, I can take some shortcuts, and I just grab anything that I can see that works. So I see 2, but if I want to take a shortcut and be like, I see 6. So I'm gonna do 6 for my next one. And then I go about solving it. I'm not paying too much attention to the colors, sorry. All right, and then once I get that one, it's like, oh wait, I see that now I'm also still missing a 2. So I got 3 and I got 4. I got 2 numbers down here that I can no longer divide into, so I'm sort of done with this. Essentially, fractionally, 72 96ths would simplify down to 3/4. But I've written it this alternate way so that I can see what numbers are over here. And essentially, if I take all of these numbers and multiply them together, the answer to that multiplication problem is the GCF. So the answer to the problem would be 24. Again, it wouldn't matter what steps I took. So if you divided by 2 and you saw 36 and 48, and you were like, oh, in 12, I know my 12 facts, the next one's 12, you would have gotten a 2 times 12, also would have been 24. You could have done 2 divided by 2 divided by 2, and then at the very end divided by 3. You would have done all those together. You still would have ended up with 24. So it doesn't matter what steps you take. If you consistently, you got to do the computation correct, divide it all out, this left-hand side will help you find the GCF. If you're really excited about it, just as a fun fact, if you multiply all of the pieces that are left, you get the LCM. So 3 times 4 is 12 down here at the bottom. If I were to multiply 12 times 24, that is the least common multiple of 72 and 96. Cool.